Would you go ahead and state your name and DOC number for the record?
Yes, ma'am. Deidre Pierre, 445265.
Thank you. Ms. Pierre, my name is Pearl Wise. I'm acting as chair today. To my left is Mr. Roche, and to my right is Mr. Freeman. We comprise the panel this morning. Let me explain the process. I'm going to read some information into the record. And then after that, we'll conduct an interview with you. Your case was assigned to me, so I'll be interviewing first. After the interviews, we have quite a few visitors today and speakers. We're going to allow them to speak and enter their testimony. And do you have legal representation? Go ahead, legal, put your names on the record, please.
My name is Barbara Bathke with the Tulane Law Clinic.
Good morning. My name is Catherine Mattis, also with the Tulane Law Clinic. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for asking. Do you plan on speaking last? Y'all plan on speaking last after she gives her statement?
Yes, please.
Great. Okay. So after we conduct all the interview, all this testimony has been received, you make a final statement, and then your attorney will close us out. We will
Yes, ma'am.
in this process. So at this stage, I'm going to read the list of visitors so that information can be on the record. I'm gonna start with your supporters. We have Ms. Krista Tremaine with the Louisiana Parole Project, and she will be speaking. And everyone has 3 minutes. I will be setting the alarm. And when you hear the alarm, that means you start wrapping it up. We have Tristan Thomas to support, Bob Labos. And I'm going to mispronounce these names. If you want to call it out correctly, please do so. It don't bother me. Dr. Sommer is in support. Danielle Mitzi with Rise Collective and Reentry is not speaking, is here. Malcolm Lloyd with Tulane Law Center here in headquarters. We have Stephanie King, who is here in support. We have Tristan Thomas, the sister who is here in support and will be speaking. We have Antonio Thomas, our aunt, here in headquarters. Lois Thomas, your mother, who was here in person at headquarters. Grantham Thomas, your sister, would not be speaking here in headquarters. Sister Mary Clark Thomas, who your niece, is here speaking, not speaking, I'm sorry. Miss Doring, a niece, who's in person here. Ma'am? Please do. Say it again. Cynthia Sierra Dorian. Your niece is here, thank you. So Robert LeBose, your name is on here. Again, you are a student and you will be speaking. Renee Ham. Wait a minute, wait. We got too many speakers. We can only have 3 speakers. We can only have 3. We have 6 here.
Ms. Wise,
Yes.
I believe the speakers were going to be Mr. Lobos, Ms. Tristan Thomas, and Dr. Sonia.
Thank you. So y'all heard that. Okay. Beatrice Taylor is here. Ashley Posey is here with the Louisiana Parole Project, and that's it.
Dr. Sharkey.
And ma'am?
Dr. Sharkey.
And Dr. Sharkey is here. Okay.
You call their 2 names on the list.
No, I'm sorry, Ms. Wise, also, the warden reminded me, we have 2 supporters here as well.
Okay, go ahead and put those, go ahead and announce yourself for the record.
Hi, my name's Hannah Grodell.
And what's your relationship to this case?
I work with the Tulane Law Clinic.
Thank you.
Good morning, Mrs. Wise. My name is Amy Myers, and I'm friends with Deidre Pierre.
Thank you. Okay, so now, Mary, remind me again of who the speakers are this morning.
That would be Dr. Sonia,
Okay.
Tristan Thomas, and Mr. Bob Lobos.
Tristan Thomas.
Yes.
Okay. All right, thank you.
And Ms. Wise, Louisiana Parole Project, we're here in the support, so if there's no room for me to speak, it's okay, but if the board has any questions, I'm here.
But we're gonna let you speak after the 3 speakers. We won't count you, because I want that on the record of what you guys going to provide. So at this time, we're gonna announce the victim's family, and again, you guys can help me. And Jeremiah Flugis.
Flugins.
Jeremiah Flugents, and he's not going to be speaking here at headquarters. Jacoby Pierre, the victim's son. Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, the victim's son. He's present and not speaking. Nicole Wilson. What's your relationship, Ms. Wilson?
We've been friends, Anthony and I, since kindergarten.
So you're a family
I'm a
friend?
family friend.
Okay, thank you. And you will be speaking. And Anthony Pierre Jr., the victim's father, you will be speaking. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right, thank you all for being here this morning. So let me go ahead and read this information into the record and we'll begin the interview process. Your name is Tiffany Jones. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, girl, I got to switch over. I am behind. Give it a minute to open up. Okay, we have Deidre Pierre DOC number is 445265. You're listed as a first offender, attempted second-degree murder, and second-degree murder. You're originally sentenced on September the 11th of 2001 to life imprisonment without benefit of probation, parole, or suspension of sentence. And then life imprisonment commuted to 99 years on August the 1st of 2023, and 10 years of hard labor consecutive to the original life imprisonment sentence. Your parole date is listed as August the 1st of 2003. Your good time date, January the 16th of 2081. And your full term is February the 15th of 2097. You appealed before the Louisiana Pardon Board on August the 20th of 2008. And you received a favorable recommendation to the governor for clemency, and the governor granted the clemency on August the 1st of 2003. That sounds about right?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, I'll begin the questioning this morning. This is a very concerning case, and you know that, because you've lived it. You know, I've just got introduced to your case. I do. Call out for the record how long you've served on this sentence.
25 years and about 25 and a half years, a little over 25 and a half years.
And how old are you today?
I'm 49.
49 years of age.
Yes, ma'am.
I do want to say for the record that there's law enforcement opposition to your early release. There's nothing you can do about it, but we get their opinions. So I just stated that for the record. Now, at the time of this offense, you were pregnant with Jacoby. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
And you and your husband were estranged, right?
Yes.
So how many months how many months pregnant were you at the time?
I was about 8 or 9 weeks pregnant.
Oh, 8 or 9 weeks. Okay. Okay. So y'all hadn't been separated very long.
No, ma'am.
Tell us what happened on that day.
I was in a real bad place. I was alone. I was hopeless. I was pregnant, and I wanted to end my life. I was going to bring Avante to be with his father and leave him and then end my life. But something happened between my husband and I. We got into an argument, and I started shooting. I shot Anthony, Avante, and I turned the gun on myself. Avante died that evening.
So tell me, you were alone, but you were a married woman with a child, and you had a mother and other family members, right?
They had a lot of issues with family. I didn't believe at the time that they were supportive of me. Everything was, I believe that they favored my ex-husband. There's a lot of things that went on growing up that it was bad growing up. And when I met my husband, things just didn't get any better. I believe that they favored him more than they favored me.
How long were you all married?
We were married 2 years.
So you had the child before y'all got married.
Yeah, I got pregnant with Avante. I was pregnant in 94, 96, and 1998.
Say that again now.
I was pregnant in 1994, 1996, and 1998.
So how many children do you have?
I would have had 3. I have only Jacoby now.
Okay. Okay.
The second was an abortion.
Okay.
With each of our children, my husband tried to get me to abort our kids. I denied him. I denied aborting Avante. When I got pregnant the second time, he wanted me to abort that baby, and he brought me to New Orleans, and I had an abortion. And he wanted me to abort Jacoby. When I told him, he had even given me some money to abort him, but I gave it back to him. I couldn't.
Okay. All right. I want to turn our attention now to what you've been doing since this charge. Tell us about what you've been doing.
I've been in a lot of groups. I've been getting my education. I'm working on my second bachelor's degree. I have a seminary degree. I've been mentoring a lot of young women here. I've been a peer minister. I've been working with the troubled ladies that are here with disciplinary court. I've been doing a lot, basically giving back to my community. I've been active in the Victims Awareness Program, and I've learned so much about that. Every year for the last 5 or 6 years, they make sure that I'm pretty much there. I love working with the victims' rights advocate and just learning more. I'm a counsel substitute, meaning I've been studying law for the last 15 years, and I've had some successes with working with.
Let's talk about some of those. I kind of read that in the record.
Yes, ma'am. I barely made it out of high school, but even though I've been incarcerated, I was entrusted to be a counsel sub. I self-taught with law, and I caught on to some things, and I've been helping the women here, whether it's represent them at disciplinary court when they get in trouble. I've represented them in family court matters, some of their criminal matters on their appeals, direct appeal, Louisiana Supreme Court appeals, federal court appeals. I caught on to law, and that's what I've been doing for the last 15, almost 16, something like that.
So I do want you to know that this is the time to toot your own horn. No, people don't like to, but now is the time. You haven't said anything about the successes that I read in the file on some of the cases that you made a difference in.
Yeah, I also, because of the work that I've been doing, there's outside entities that they're hiring me upon release in New Orleans. I have mental health care, medical care. They're ensuring that I have the support system I need. There's an organization, RISE, that is specifically helping me to transition. They're making sure I have transportation to mental health treatment, the FIT clinic. And my job is providing me with a job starting at $50,000. I have 100% benefits. And it's all because of the work I've been doing, the mentoring, the peer ministering, singing for programs, just giving back to the community.
Have you finished the paralegal certification?
Yes, ma'am.
When did you graduate?
I graduated from Blackstone Paralegal in 2018.
Okay. Okay.
Because I needed some other schooling, because as long as Jacoby was having trouble in school. So as long as he was in school, I stayed in school, and that was like a pact we made. So when I finished seminary in 2016, I needed some more schooling. So I took Blackstone, and then after Blackstone, by the grace of God, Tulane provided a bachelor's program in social sciences. So I'm in my senior year with Tulane University, and they're willing to allow me to continue school with their university. And all goes well. I hope to maybe go to some type of school pertaining to law.
Okay, so you just not gonna tell us out loud the successful cases that you intervene on?
Oh, yes, ma'am. Jennifer
Okay.
Jennifer Anglade versus Department of Corrections. She had a 30-year sentence, and I did, it was a calculation matter. I won it concerning a DWI. I won it. She ended up doing 12 years and was released. They originally had her scheduled for 30 years. I won that in the appellate court, the district court, appellate court, and the Louisiana Supreme Court. Beatrice Trism, I did a Esteem issue. She was a lifer. They cut her to credit for time served due to errors. She did 26 years. There's a number. There's
Oh, wait, go do one more. I just want to.
Yeah, there's an abundance of cases that I've represented. Some were family court with mothers desiring visitation with their children, and that was real successful in making sure that they're capable of coming to programs here. Through the Children's Caring Parent, I even directed some of their extravaganzas to make sure that they had a Christmas play with live characters. I sing for church. I've been singing since a kid. I was the first one to erect a praise and worship ministry here in the chapel. I also directed a choir for about 6 years. About 30 people was always in the choir. 200 to 300 people were in the audience, in the congregation. I've always done ministry with Franklin Avenue. Whenever the institution did not have someone coming for services, I was already ready with a different genre of music for whoever came to ensure that we can still have church. When we had the flood, we did the same thing. We did rounds to the lockdown areas. We brought different things that were donated. We prayed with the ladies. We laughed with the ladies. We cried with the ladies because it was a real rough time. We lost everything that we had, but we made it through. And then I stayed with ministry, and I've just devoted a lot of my time to working in the law library. That became a ministry for me because so many women have been coming, so many have been coming, and that women haven't had hope on a lot of things. And it reminded me of how I used to be back then, not feeling like you had the hope that you needed, not feeling like that there was a God out there that you can serve. But through the work I've been doing, giving back to people, I actually helped myself to heal. I'm not proud of being mental. I'm not proud of having mental health problems. I've always been ashamed of it. But right now I embrace that. I'm okay with whatever people consider me. I'm okay with having mental health issues, but I've spent the last 25 years taking medication. I'm on a KOP program. I'm responsible for seeing the psychologist. I'm responsible for taking my medication. I'm responsible for going and saying I need help. In that, I've even learned working with clients. If I see things that are not right, I resort them, or I do a letter to the social workers or the mental health workers for them to check up on them. And at that token, the social workers, they'll come and talk to me about it, and I'll talk to them about the client and try to have the best avenue for them to get the help, because mental health is important. And even with my son, Jacoby, when Jacoby would come to visit, I would always talk to him about making sure he was taking his medication, making sure he was taking care of himself, being a godly man. That's what I've called him for 25 years. I've just been giving back to the community.
All right, thank you, ma'am. There is some difference of opinion about your relationship with Jacoby. You said he comes to see you, and we got other information too. And you submitted pictures in the file of where he did come to see you, and we'll hear from him today. When was the last time I know you said in the clemency, he stopped coming after the clemency investigation. Is that?
I've seen Jacoby multiple times after the clemency. 1 year he came like 3 times with family, or when I call home, they'll be like, Jacoby wants to come see you. He'll be asking my mom really about visitation. He came earlier this year. We always took pictures each year that he came, and I'll send the pictures back home. He particularly likes a picture that he and I took together where he felt that, putting his arm over my shoulder, like he was he was grown, as I call it, putting his arm over my shoulder because he's taller than I. And I just hugged him.
Okay, good. All right.
Yeah.
What is the Hustle 2.0 program? What is that?
Hustle 2.0 is an organization that was erected to basically keep residents in tune of what's going on in society, as well as if you had an addiction, whatever your problem is, you found in the different stories how basically it talks about, even though they committed a crime, many of them did not continue in the crime. They decided to give back to their communities and help other people. It had entrepreneur classes in it. It had meditation. It had puzzles. It had testimonies of people that were in San Quentin about how their lives changed and that they utilized that as a positive influence to change their community. So several people did it here, and I went ahead and I took it, and I really enjoyed it.
Good. That's good to hear. That's good to hear. That's all I have. Mr. Rocha had some questions. Then wanted to hear from you, and Mr. Freeman had some. Y'all want to hear from the warden first? Go ahead, Warden. You can go ahead and give us share your input, and then we have further questions on this end.
Okay, since her last hearing, she has completed several different classes, trauma healing for one, and some crime victims classes. I don't think I heard her mention about her Toastmasters, JC. She was in the Lifers Association and the Daughters of Christ. She's a minimum status offender with a low risk score. She only had 3 write-ups her entire time here, which is more than 20 years. And the last one was in 2005. And I do want to mention, she mentioned her mental health. So we have her categorized as a level care of 3, which does indicate she has mental health issues, but she has been in remission or at least stable with medication. And on her CTRP release factors, she has 1,100 credits. So it didn't calculate and show up on y'all's information.
Correct. And I do want to confirm that she is she's still on the status where she keeps her mental health medicine on her own and she takes it. That's what the reports state. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And she did kind of go over everything else as being a legal worker while she's here. So that's her current job.
And she's still on her needs assessment, she still scores out high on mental health.
Right. That'll be something she'll have to deal with the rest of her life, taking medications and whatnot.
All right, Mr. Roshan, your questions?
Thank you.
Thank you, Warden.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Good morning, Ms. Pierre. How are you?
Good morning. I'm well.
Good. Ms. Pierre, I hate to take you back, but on the day this happened, in your opinion, were you having a mental health episode?
Yes, I had been depressed for some time, and I'd been contemplating suicide. And just that evening, it was almost like I was done with everything. I didn't want to feel pain anymore. I didn't want to feel alone anymore. I didn't want to feel hurt. I gave up. I messed up. I failed. I failed that day.
Where did you get the gun?
at my parents' house.
And think back. Did you really realize that your son was sitting in your husband's lap?
He was sitting there briefly, but Avante had moved away from him. He wasn't. I recall Avante moving around somewhere. We were sitting at a bench, this bench type chair, this bench type thing, and Avante was originally like by his legs, and then he moved.
Because it's hard for me to believe that a woman who would fight her husband not to have an abortion 3 times would deliberately aim a gun at her son.
Mr. Roche, I didn't know Avante was hit. I didn't know. I did, as God's my witness, I didn't know Avante was hurt till I was on the floor with him. I had no idea. I didn't know. I was on the floor with him and I saw his shoes. I didn't know.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, so you didn't know Avante was hit, but you meant to shoot your husband then. Am I correct?
Yes.
And you claimed that you were going to just take your life, but you brought a gun in that house and shot 2 other people.
Sir, I learned how to carry our family gun from my husband. He showed us how to put it in the back or on the side. We traveled long distances. He bought the gun for me when he would travel because I would travel with him as well as the baby. We would go to Fouchon, Port Lavaca. We went to places I've never even known before. And it was just he and I or he and the baby. We would stay in a hotel with some of the jobs.
Okay, let me ask you this. Why did you keep getting pregnant if you knew your husband didn't want kids? And you got to fight this fight every time. Doesn't make any sense to me.
I was on Depo-Provera. I was on low estrogen. I got pregnant even on those, and I didn't know that the Depo-Provera is something with depression. So they took me off of it. It's something I don't remember. It's something with the medication that I wasn't supposed to be taking it anyway. But I took it twice. I think it's like every 3 months.
And Warden, you say she did complete victim impact? I show where she got in it twice but never completed.
Completed it last month.
Yeah, I think 6/28/23 is when she completed it.
Yes. Okay.
I just finished the course with Miss Durio. It was a 12-week course. And it talked about the primary and the tertiary victims. And it talked about the many different crimes. And it talked about how much we hurt, how the different hurts of victims, the things that they went through that I never really thought of. You know, it told us about a lot. The class was in depth and you had to participate. But one of the most important things it taught us was that the victim has a right to say and feel how they want, how they desire. And I have to accept that no matter what. I've learned a lot in that class, and that's why over the years, I've always helped. When I had the choir, I would always make sure that if they needed music, if they needed a speaker, if they needed a club member, that I was always there for them and able to help them or participate some way, somehow.
Okay. I haven't.
Thank you. Okay, at this time, we will hear from your supporters. Whoever wants to come first is here at headquarters. Mr. Lobo, Robert Lobos. Y'all just gonna wait to be called? Y'all know who you are.
Ms. Wise, is Dr. Sonia on Zoom there?
Sonia on Zoom.
We're checking, we're checking.
Thank you.
A little bit about me and why I'm speaking today. My name is Robert Lobos. I own a business called the Wolf Creek Business Growth Institute and help people grow businesses. One of our business programs that we facilitate is an entrepreneurship program. We taught men, continue to teach men and women in or recently released from the Louisiana prisons. And we've done that over the last 3 years. We got and worked with probably nearly 100 people. Some have started their business, some have fallen back into their bad habits, and others have been successful. Yet this is the first time I had the opportunity to speak to the parole board. I'm doing so because I've known Deidre Pierre, a remarkable person for the last 3 years. She was in our pilot program. And I've seen who she's becoming, her strong character, her faith, and she's got a lot of potential. As a retired Air Force officer, I'm aware of the discipline, the character, and leadership skills that are required for success. Deidre is living those today. It really is. I've worked with and owned businesses in various industries. I've served on the Louisiana Rehabilitation Council, and I'm a current member of the Workforce Investment Council. This is where this program began. Typically I sit next to, I'll tell you a little story about it. Typically I sit next to Brett Covington, the assistant director, or assistant secretary rather. He was lamenting one day the fact that even with skills, only a small number of convicted felons get jobs after you. So I said, what about teaching them how to start a business? Many of them were good business people. They just were in the wrong business. And that's where we got the concept going. This is how I met Deidre. He was selected to be part of that pilot, we call it an EMT program, short for entrepreneurship. And we developed the program to give an opportunity and hope for the future to those that were incarcerated. Both men and women. We only ask where they want to go and become, not what they're past. That's what we look at. We look to the future. We help them look to the future. The course includes both people skills and hard skills, such as how to develop a business plan with a personal budget, with starting capital needs, first year financial protection. Deidre excelled in this course. You finished top of her class. Got DD's paralegal pointers business plan completed. It wasn't allowed to bring that in, but
Well, time is up now. You heard the buzzer, so close it out. Okay.
Okay, as I got to know Deidre, these are some of the characteristics that I see. She's got a positive attitude. She's loving, caring, focused, determined, intelligent, internally motivated to grow personally and help other people grow. I see that in her. I'll tell one last story. That I attended the job fair out at LCIW last Wednesday. There were probably about 70 or 80 people come through. I got to talk to about 60 of them. Every time I mentioned her name, there was and yes, they knew who she was, and it was with a smile.
All right, thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for your participation today.
The last comment I've got is the world today needs more Deidre Pierre. Please.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Counselor,
Yeah.
Dr. Sonia has not checked in on Zoom. You might want to give them a call.
I think they're in the waiting room.
They're in the waiting room.
In
I
the
was
waiting
told.
room on Zoom, on
On
Zoom.
Zoom
in
waiting
the
room. They have to be
room.
let in?
No one's on in there. If they checked into if they're in the registration ID, I'm sorry, but we gotta move forward to next
Okay.
speaker.
Well, there is, the next speaker would be Ms. Thomas. Malcolm, there is the student attorney, Malcolm, Mr. Abbott has Dr. Sonier's phone number, but if she can't be reached, oh, there she is. There she is. I see her. There she is, Dr. Sonier.
Good. All right, Mrs. She can speak now. Go ahead, Mrs. Dr. Sonier.
And the next speaker would be Dr. Sonier, yes.
Yes, ma'am. That's fine. Dr. Sonia, you can speak at this time. I'm sorry you didn't have time to get yourself together. Yeah, I'm gonna set the alarm, and when you hear the alarm, then wrap it up. All right. Mrs.
Okay, so
She can speak now. Go ahead, Mrs. Dr. Sonia.
thank you. I
The
am,
next speaker would be
so should I go ahead?
Dr.
Okay, so
Sonier, yeah.
I am Loretta
That's fine.
Sonier. I'm a forensic psychiatrist, which means that
Dr. Sonia, you can speak at this time. I'm sorry you didn't have time to get yourself together. Yeah, and I'm gonna set
Okay, you're gonna have to turn off the YouTube. You gotta play on YouTube as well.
hold on. Can you hear me? So should I go ahead?
Dr.
Okay.
Sonier, yeah.
I am Loretta
That's fine.
Sonier. I'm a forensic. Okay, so sorry, I had to turn the YouTube off. I
Yes,
apologize.
yes.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to start now. Okay, so I'm Loretta Sonier, a forensic psychiatrist, which means that I specialize in evaluating and treating individuals in legal context. I evaluated Ms. Pierre in April 2023. As part of my evaluation, I reviewed extensive records, including all mental health records from before and after her arrest. At the time of the murder, a confluence of factors converged. Ms. Pierre had an extremely unstable mood due to untreated mental illness. This illness was worsened by the hormonal effects of pregnancy, greatly affecting her thinking, impulse control, judgment, and behavior. At the time of the incident, Ms. Pierre was hopeless and depressed. She never intended to kill her son or her ex-husband. Rather, she had wanted to kill herself. When I met with her, Ms. Pierre expressed extreme grief and a great sense of remorse for her crime. And since her arrest, Ms. Pierre's developed insight into having a mental illness, and she has greatly benefited from treatment and understands the importance of treatment in maintaining her wellness. Ms. Pierre had mood instabilities in her 20s and 30s, but during her time in prison, she's received much education and treatment, and she has recovered. I believe that a similar confluence of circumstances that led to Ms. Pierre's crime will never again occur. The risk factors present at the time of the incident are no longer present. Ms. Pierre will not become pregnant again and have pregnancy and hormones destabilize her mood. During her time in prison, Ms. Pierre's life perspective, insight into mental illness, and her support systems have all changed dramatically. I do not believe Ms. Pierre poses a risk to the community. And if she's granted parole, I believe that Ms. Pierre has an excellent prognosis to be a high-functioning and productive member of society. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Now we hear from Tristan Thomas.
My name's Tristan. I'm the oldest of 4 girls. Deidre is my sister. I've been a registered nurse for over 25 years, and I've been visiting with my sister since she's been at LCIW. I was going to see her about 12 times a year, only because as a nurse, sometimes I work. When I go to visit, we bring Jacoby, my 2 daughters, and also my adopted sons. So they've gotten to know their aunt. She never missed a beat. She was not eliminated from our life. She was not just a void because she was not there. In fact, my daughter, who now attends LSU in Baton Rouge, goes to visit her on her own with weekends. We have no fear for my sister. When we took Jacoby with us to see him, to see his mom when he was a little boy, he absolutely adored his mom. He'd sit on her lap, he'd hug her, he'd kiss her. She'd concentrate about how his teeth weren't clean enough. He'd encourage him to brush better. Always wondered when he'd be able to see her again, and he was sad to leave. They had a great relationship, despite the separation that they had. Deidre loves Jacoby dearly. No matter what anybody says, she has a mother's love for her child, and she always will. She always expressed concern about Jacoby because of his education, him being a new child. She was concerned that when we visit, there were books that he could not read. He could not pronounce words, not even the basics. So she was very concerned. So she always left him home. She'd give him homework to take home, and when you come in for the next visit, we're going to review this homework. Our visits with her were always filled with laughter, tears, hugs, kisses, and most of all, the spiritual uplifting that we needed to pull us all back together as a district. Deidre did experience a lot of trauma and suffering growing up, but since she's been at LCRW, I've got to toot my sister's horn. She's done the thing. She healed, she's learned so much, she's educated herself, she continues to educate herself. But most of all, I think what I admire about her the most is that she has found her passion in life. And that is helping the other women that has gone through similar experiences by helping them what she's learned through law, what she's learned through Christ. I call her our guru of the Bible. She knows, she can quote any quote from the Bible to impact any incident, any situation that you're going on in life. And she does it to us every time we talk. She mentors other women with LCRW. She's even helped me. Through the entrepreneurial class she's had, I started a cattle business. She is helping me write a grant to grow this business. She has business ideas popping out of her head left and right. One of them is to do like miniature housing for inmates. Her faith has guided her. I would ask her, please write her parole today. She will definitely have the love and support from her families and friends.
Thank you. Let's see for the Louisiana Parole Project before we go on the other side and tell us what you're gonna just put on the record. You're on.
Good morning again. Afternoon almost.
Chrissy
Sheremy with Louisiana Parole Project. We are here to support Ms. Deidre in the event that she is granted. We are prepared as well. Like I mentioned earlier, for her to continue on with 2-lane. So we already have the ATLO program installed at the house. We're just in hopes that an institution sends home the tablets. We will be able to provide all services and housing throughout Ms. Deidre's transition. We have a social worker on staff who will also do mental health evaluations and get her any services that she needs for any counseling. And of course, Ms. Deidre's stay at the Louisiana Parole Project, they're all individualized, so she can stay as long as it's needed.
Thank you. At this time, we can hear from Ms. Nicole Wilson, family friend.
Good afternoon, Parole Board. My name is Nicole White Wilson. And I am Anthony Pierre's best friend. We have been knowing each other a long time. I am a registered nurse of 38 years. I graduated from LSU. I met Deidre through Anthony. And I'm gonna say this, how dare you
talk to us, ma'am, talk to us.
Have the right to breathe the same air we breathe. Because I'm gonna give you an example. I have mental illness. My husband kicked me in the stomach when I was pregnant. I had a choice, and he killed our baby. I had a choice. But I divorced him and I moved on, and now I can't have any kids. But I made a choice and I opened up an intellectual disability 23 years ago because of code, and you refuse to take your medications. You knew what you were doing. You told me you were gonna do it. You called me before you did it, and I begged you. I asked you to get help. I took you to hospitals. You lied to me. You told me that your dad and your parents mistreated you, that your dad touched you. Those were all lies. You made us feel like your family was against you when they really
Talk to us.
loved you.
Talk to us.
I am sorry. Every day I don't have a piece of paper up here because it's embedded in my mind. I don't need a piece of paper. I live it every day. Jacoby's terrified of you. He cannot testify today. But I drove here from Houston, Texas. I've had open heart surgery, a valve replacement. I stayed in surgery 10 hours, but I'm here today because and I'm a God-fearing woman. And I've hired people that have gotten out of prison, and I do believe in reform. But I do not believe that you will ever be reformed. And may God bless your soul, because I pray for you every day. And you intentionally went there. You told me you broke in your mom's house. You told me you had your dad's shotgun. And I called him, and he was trying to leave. You didn't let him leave. Instead, you chose to shoot him, and you shot the gun. You dropped the gun. You put it back together, and you shot the gun. You knew you were shooting him, and for you to sit there today and cry. Yes, you may have been reformed for others, but not for me and Anthony and Jacoby. And I pray today that justice is served. I'm done.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Pierre, Anthony Pierre Jr.
I'm Anthony Pierre.
Still in the center of the code. Thank you.
I don't know where to begin. I don't even understand why I'm here. I really don't. I was under the impression that she got life for the behavior and 50 years for trying to kill me. Get a lot. A millimeter more, I would have died. I'm totally deaf in my left ear. I raised Kobe from a baby. We still in constant to this day. We're both traumatized. We literally go to constant because I know since before it happened, I knew who I was. Today, I don't even know who I am. It's like I'm in a foreign body since this happened. I don't know who I am. I don't trust nobody. I don't go anywhere. It's work back woman trying to take care of my kid. It's a lot of stuff that I forgot. I mean, I'm just trying to live the rest of my life with peace. I just want peace. I didn't make none of this stuff happen. I'm sorry it did. It was tragic, but it definitely wasn't an accident. Not at all. It was all self-inflicted. It was all premeditated. And I feel bad about it. The innocent child got killed for nothing. She had no reason to shoot me, let alone him. But it is what it is. I just want to live the rest of my life in peace. And I'm fine. I want y'all to find it. I'm tired coming back here. I'm tired. It's like it'll never end. I just want things to end. I hope you don't find it in your heart. I don't want to ever be walking down the street and run into my ex-wife. I don't know what I would do. I just want peace to take care of myself. That's it. Please keep her incarcerated. I don't know what would happen if y'all let her show me some justice. I want this justice to be done and finalized and never have to worry about it again. Is that justice letting her out and she's in society? You know what I mean? Murder is murder. And nothing was an accident. It was all premeditated. Thanks for your time. God bless.
Thank you.
I can't go to
Hey, at this time, we wanted to hear from your legal representation. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Thank you, Mr. Roche. Ms. Deidre, it's time for you to make your final statement again, talk to us, and then your attorneys will wrap it up. I'm sorry about the pace that you don't really get time to collect yourself. I'm sorry about that.
Sorry, there was something that was wrong with ours, the machine, I apologize.
Oh, okay.
Wise. So victims, I am so sorry for the harm that I caused. There is nothing I can do to change what I did. I hate what I did. I hate it. I denied Anthony his opportunity to be a dad to his baby. I denied everybody an opportunity to just see what a beautiful child Avante was. I can't change what I did, and I wish I could. I made a mess. But I didn't know. There's a lot I didn't know. I was scared to be mental. I was scared. I was starting out on my own. I can't change anything. But I have so much help now. I have so much help from people that has just come out the woodwork because of the things I've been doing. I have so many tools. I'm okay with my mental health. I'm okay. I'm not okay with what I did, but I can't change it. I can't change it. I would if I could. I can't change it. And I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. But a sorry not gonna bring Avante back.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
My name is Barbara Bathke. I'm a student attorney with the Tulane Law Clinic here on behalf of Deidre Pierre. When Ms. Pierre was a young woman, she committed an unthinkable crime. You all heard her speak to the profound remorse that she feels for taking her son's life and harming her ex-husband. This sense of remorse has been the catalyst driving her recovery and rehabilitation. And you have in front of you a packet that outlines all of her extraordinary accomplishments, her countless certificates of achievement, and 30 letters from the many people who support her. Warden Boutte remarked at her clemency hearing that we've run out of things for her to do. Ms. Pierre is truly a shining example of what rehabilitation looks like. And what I'd like to focus on now is the context of Ms. Pierre's actions as a young woman and how, with her transformation, the board can be confident in her reentry. We've heard from Dr. Saunier, who explained the mental health crisis that led to Ms. Pierre's crime. Soon after her offense, she was admitted to a forensic hospital for over 2 years, where she received intensive psychiatric treatment. Once she got to LCIW, she maintained her recovery with medication and counseling for 2 decades. Through her treatment and programming, she's gained insight, self-awareness, and the coping skills to handle her mental health care. Dr. Saunier spoke about how the confluence of factors that existed for Ms. Pierre at the time of her crime will never occur again. Ms. Pierre has taken what she's learned and become a certified trauma healing facilitator, mentoring other young women at LCIW who struggle with mental illness. For more than 2 decades, she's been successfully treated for her mental illness, and her remarkable accomplishments with no write-ups in 18 years reflects this. Ms. Pierre has earned a bachelor's degree in Christian ministry and is working towards her second bachelor's from Tulane. She's earned a paralegal certificate, which has enhanced her remarkable work as a counsel substitute. For over a decade, she's helped hundreds of incarcerated women with their legal claims, earning a reputation as one of the most outstanding counsel subs in DOC. Her reputation extends beyond just Louisiana. As Jody Polk from NYU Law School wrote in a letter of support, Deidre is an exceptional leader and a model for her community inside and out. I can only imagine how many more lives she can impact if paroled. And no discussion of Ms. Pierre's growth would be complete without talking about her faith. She shared with us that her faith saved her life, and she's used this as yet another way to serve the LCIW community. One of her Bible study students shared, "She was so passionate about guiding us in the right direction of Christ. He built up these broken ladies in her class." The fact that Ms. Pierre has been so successful in all aspects of her life while at LCIW is a testament to her recovery and rehabilitation. She's not only taken the opportunity to better herself through mental health treatment, her religious faith, and ongoing education, but she's made it her life's mission to encourage the same healing in those around her. If granted parole, she will start with the Louisiana Parole Project, and when they believe she's ready, she will transition to living in New Orleans, where she has a job offer as a paralegal with the New Orleans Law Office, with that starting salary of $50,000 and full benefits. Her transition will be supported by RISE, a New Orleans-based reentry organization that has provided an individualized support group for Ms. Pierre. They'll meet bi-weekly to ensure that all of her reentry needs are met. Her reentry plan considers every aspect of support and structure that she will need to succeed in the community. Nothing that Ms. Pierre can do will ever make up for the crime that she committed. It's her sense of responsibility and accountability that has been the catalyst driving her recovery and rehabilitation. I've only touched on some of her accomplishments, and the list is truly endless, but you can see that without a doubt, she's a shining example of rehabilitation. On behalf of Ms. Pierre, we ask that you grant her request for parole. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we've heard all testimony.
Executive session, Madam Chair.
That's been our request for executive session.
Second.
And second, roll call, please.
Parole.
Yes.
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 At this time, at 12:12, we will be going into executive session to discuss confidential matters related to this case. Thank you. The panel is reconvening at 12:18 as to Deidre Pierre 445265. And at this time, having heard all testimonies, the panel is ready to vote. I'll be voting first because your case was assigned to me. This is a very, very difficult case, very difficult. I'm almost 8 years on the board. I think this has been my top tier of difficult cases. And I appreciate everyone here's participation on both sides of this concern, because it is different. It really is. When I first got on this board, I'm a retired probation parole officer. In the training they gave us, they told us to look at what they have done since the crime, because the crime does not change. And when I look through those lenses at your case, what you have done in 25 years, the people you have helped set free, how you manage your mental health, how you manage the issues in your life, spoke volumes to me. But I'm only one vote. So my vote is to grant because of the over 1,000 hours of programming, the outstanding warden comments, your outstanding legal assistance to other offenders. You've been a good community servant in the community. You've been a model offender in various ways while having a mental health issue, having a mental health diagnosis. That speaks volumes to me. And my vote is to grant to the Louisiana Parole Project, and you are to stay there for a period of time that they deem appropriate. And you are to cooperate with the RISE program and with the Tulane University FIT program. There has been some discrepancies about Jacoby, whether he wants to be with you or not. Today, my special condition is that you have no contact with the victim's family, and that includes Jacoby, until such a time as other interventions. It's just too difficult for us as a parole board to decide if you should or shouldn't. So for your safety, to not get snared in either way. And if Jacoby calls you, you have to remind him that the parole board said, I can't talk to you. If you want to contact with me, talk to my parole officer, and your parole officer can give Jacoby permission to communicate with you. And like you said, that's what you learn in the victims classes. The victim is always right. We yield to the victim's wishes and desires and their comfortability. So best wishes to you. But again, I'm only one vote. Mr. Freeman.
Okay, as Ms. Wise stated, you've done terrific. There's no doubt about it. You've done everything you should do while incarcerated. Problem that I have is that, it's 25 years you served. You took a life. And attempted to take another life. That's just, sometimes you gotta pay the penalty for what you've done, and that's just not enough time in my mind for the serious nature of this crime. My vote is to deny.
Thank you, Mr. Freeman. Ms. Roche.
Ms. Pierre. In 25 years, we've had only 3 disciplinary write-ups. And what was the last one, Warden?
I believe it was in 2005,
18 years ago.
almost 18 years ago.
18 years ago. You have conquered what most people spend their whole life trying to conquer, a mental health issue. You've got to the point where you can be allowed to self-medicate yourself because the facility is 100% sure that you're going to stay on your regimen. It's a horrible crime you committed. And I just can't sit in judgment because I don't know exactly what happened and how it happened. But in 8 years of serving on this committee, I've come to realize that if some persons can't be paroled, it shouldn't be anybody that's paroled. A person who has done as much as you've done for the facility and its offenders, you've defended them on numerous occasions and presented a legal argument that won the case. I'm a former law librarian, and you've won more cases than some lawyers I know. Okay? The victims of this crime is always a part of this process. A very important part of this process. But I see an individual that has done as much as she can to make amends, and a person that is very remorseful for what occurred that day. And I imagine she spent every day since trying to make amends for what he did. Based upon your disciplinary conduct, positive remarks from Warden LeBlanc, excellent programs, excellent community service, I don't think there's anything left for you to do in incarceration. It's about time that you get out and be a productive member of society, a member who's going to be caring, compassionate, and help other people solve their problems. So based on everything I've just said, I'm going to grant your early release. But listen to me, Ms. Pierre, there will be very strict conditions on your release. You are to have a curfew from 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. I want you to report to the Louisiana Parole Project. And once you complete with the Louisiana Parole Project, and they will decide when you have completed their program, I want you to go to your permanent residency in New Orleans, Louisiana, continue your program, and I want you to maintain full-time employment. You are forbidden to contact any member of the victim's family unless that victim goes through process and with your parole officer, and he grants permission through the parole board that condition be lifted for that member of the family. But that member of the family has to request that permission through your parole officer. You understand what I'm trying to tell you?
Yes, sir.
You are restricted from entering Lafayette Parish and any parish that's adjacent to Lafayette Parish. You understand that condition?
Yes, sir.
For no reason, you are to enter Lafayette Parish or any parish surrounding or adjacent to that parish. Counselor, you got that?
Yeah, I did, Your Honor. I mean, I did, Mr. Roche. Any adjacent parish, yes, certainly.
Okay. So please restrict your activity to the southern part of Louisiana. And if by chance you're in the same space as any member of the victim's family, you are to leave that space immediately. Good luck.
Ms. Pierre, you have 2 votes to grant and 1 vote to deny. Your case is eligible for 2/3 vote, so your parole has been granted today. Again, we thank everyone for participating today.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.